Hello, I am back with another video. I'm trying to make up for like the 4-month gap or however many months it's been. Nothing really in particular that I want to say other than like what I'm doing and what I'm thinking about. So I actually just finished interviewing, maybe that's what inspired me to do this video, just interviewing about my experience as a graduate student at Michigan. And it just kind of had me thinking about a lot of things about like what I want to do, where I want to go, what my plan is. And I realized that as much as I write and post on social media, people don't really know my background, where I come from, why I'm here, why I do what I do. So let me start with the very basics. From day one, I have always known that whatever my profession or career is was going to be, I had to use my talents, my training, whatever, to benefit the world, to help people, to make the world a better place, period. So whether that meant me being a lawyer or a scientist or a singer or a backup dancer for Beyonce, that is always my motivation. Excuse me. And the reason that I picked up biochemistry in undergrad and now and have been studying the things that I do is because I like science, I like chemistry, but particularly only when it's related to the human body. So anything outside of the human body, I don't care about. Like, not that I don't care. I don't want somebody to like, anyway, whatever. I'm like, one day somebody's gonna come back to this YouTube video and be like, she said she doesn't care. Anyway, I don't care. I am interested in chemistry within the human body. Like, that's what fascinates me, studying mechanisms of disease, understanding what happens when certain pathways go awry, when we get infections. So that's one aspect. And then the other aspect is, how do we treat them? How do we fix that? And there are multiple avenues and ways to do that. So that is my motivation. My background, I went to Georgia Tech for undergrad, and I did my bachelor's in biochemistry and a French minor. And then I worked for 2 years as a research technician. And then I did the Pathways Master's Program in Molecular, Cellular, and Developmental Biology at the University of Michigan, fully funded. Now I'm on a Fulbright and a BAF for the year, studying antibiotic resistance in bacteria. And then in September, I'm starting my PhD program in the biomedical sciences at the University of Michigan. Go Blue. Okay, so that's like a lovely story, right? Like, cool. Got my bachelor's, worked, did a master's, lived my best life in Brussels, start my PhD. I think what I'll do is probably make a separate video to really go into detail about my journey, or maybe I'll just do it now. So in undergrad, I did not have a competitive GPA at all. There was a certain point where my cumulative GPA was like a 1.7. I was on academic probation, and it was my fault because I signed up for 17 credits at the Georgia Institute of Technology like a fool. They all taking calc, physics, French, some other STEM course. I was bugging, so I failed like everything other than French. So probation. And you know, I had always known that I wanted to go to graduate school, so to get into grad school you need a 3 or higher. Like, okay, so coming upon, you know, as graduation approached and I started thinking about like, okay, how can I get into grad school? Like, this is something that I know I want to do, but I just didn't have a GPA. I think the first time I applied to grad school back in 2013, I applied with a 2.65, okay? And at that point, I think I had applied to like 3 master's programs and like 10 plus post-bac programs. Of course, I didn't get admitted into a single one because I also didn't have any wet lab research experience. I had 1 year research experience in a computational chemistry lab, but not in the field that I was interested in. So then fortunately, so the funny thing is, as I was getting ready to apply to grad school, I started working my butt off, like, so that I could bring up my GPA, you know. So my plan was like, okay, if I get A's and B's in my senior level courses, I can show these people like, look, freshman, sophomore, junior year was a struggle, but I'm good, like I'm Gucci. which ultimately resulted in me getting a B in my biophysical chemistry class. I failed a quiz on X-ray crystallography, and that's going to be funny coming soon. I remember the score I got, 2 out of 10, because I didn't study. Don't tell my advisor. Because I was like, I have no interest in crystallography. Anyway, so I failed, ended up with a B in the class, just shy of an A, right? So what happens when you live right by the airport? Okay. Come graduation, I'm getting rejection after rejection after rejection. I'm starting to feel like really bad. I'm like dismayed and nervous and just well, what am I about to do? I got loans, I don't have a job, I don't even want to work, I don't want to be in corporate America because I want to do research, and I know the type of work that I want to do requires an advanced degree. So by the grace of God, a couple of faculty members reached out to me about a research technician position open in a lab at Georgia Tech, which was actually my professor for biophysical chemistry, which is you guessed it, X-ray crystallography lab. When I tell y'all, accepting that job offer was the best thing I could have done for my life. That literally changed everything for me. So I spent the next 2 years working my butt off in her lab, learning all of the techniques, being essentially treated like a graduate student. So I had my own research project, I had to do journal club, I had to present, while simultaneously being the lab manager. So I was responsible for general organization of the lab safety, ordering, establishing quotes, training new members of the lab, in addition to having my own research project. And I think, even to this day, sometimes I feel like I take for granted the training that I got in that lab. I mean, that woman, I learned so much in that lab. And the 2 publications that I have now, one in Nature, one in PLOS ONE, as a co-author, are from the work that I did back from 2013 to 2015. Okay, so 2015. I wish I had I should have made a list of all the schools that I applied to, because I kid you not, I have applied to so many programs over the past few years, and to be where I am now is honestly just, it's a blessing. So come 2015, at this point I'm like, all right, bet. So I forgot to mention, so during the 2 years as a tech, I also took a graduate course in molecular biochemistry. So I was like, all right, boom, I'm gonna do 2 years, right? I'm gonna get, if I get a paper, great, but I'm just gonna get the skills. I'm gonna get an A in this graduate course, nothing less. I cannot afford anything less. And then I'm gonna be like, look, y'all, I've been doing research for 2 years. I can handle the coursework because I have an A from a graduate course at Georgia Tech. Gucci. I think that would be enough. So I applied. I applied to several PhD programs, some master's programs, actually one master's program I think, and hella post-bac programs. So prep program. Forget what the acronym stands for. Post-baccalaureate research education program. Boom, prep. If you don't know about prep, sidebar, gonna plug for them. It's a 1-year fully funded post-bac program where you do research and you can take a graduate course, 1 to 2 graduate courses for free, and then it's supposed to be a gateway into the PhD program, and it's completely free to apply to, so it's still super competitive, which kind of defeats the purpose of helping people transition into graduate school, but whatever. They accept about 10 applicants a year out of 100 plus applications, but it's free to apply, so just do it. So I applied to mad programs again. I did not get accepted into any PhD programs. I was offered an interview for one master's program, and then they told me that I had to pay for tuition. I was like, no. And then I was admitted into Michigan's prep program, and then I found out about the Pathways program, which I was then also admitted to. So ultimately, I had to choose between the master's program and the prep program. And the reason I chose the master's program, which was fully funded, and the prep was also fully funded, but I chose a master's program because I recognized that at this rate, I personally was not concerned about my research training, and I feel like I had demonstrated that I had, a strong research background. I knew at this point it had to be my GPA. So the second time I applied, my GPA, because I had graduated at this point and then I had taken that graduate course, was a 2.8. And so ultimately I ended up choosing the Pathways program because it's a rigorous curriculum. I knew that it would look really good on my resume, and then I knew I just had to, my motto was like, go to Michigan, knock the doors off its hinges. So I knew my plan going in, I was like, yo, I'm getting a 4.0. I'm getting a 4, like, this is it. Like, if I don't do well in this program, it's a wrap, okay? Long story short, I crushed it. So I did graduate with a 4.0. Had teaching experience, got to participate in so many things, like speaking at the March for Science, participating on the African Studies Center, being co-president of Females Excelling More in Math, Engineering, and the Sciences, did a lot of outreach, networked, met a lot of faculty members, was able to take classes towards a certificate. I mean, I took full advantage of the program and everything that it had to offer. And when I was being interviewed today, someone asked me, if you could go back, is there anything that you would do differently in the program? And I thought, and I was like, you know what? No. I literally did everything that I wanted to do, and then some. There's nothing that I would have done differently or worked harder for or not. Like, I literally did my absolute best in that program. Like, and it shows. So then, third time around, I did apply to strictly PhD programs. Actually, I think I only applied to 3. I got admitted into the two of the 3. Excuse me. And the third one, looking back, I'm pretty sure I know why I didn't get admitted, because one, so I had just come off of an ankle surgery, so I basically had like 2 weeks to, anyway, I digress. But I thought it was an umbrella program, and it was actually like not. So you were supposed to say like which lab and which department you wanted to be in, and I kind of wrote like a general statement, like kind of like a, oh, I'm interested in this person, this person, and this person. So they were probably like, this girl doesn't know what she wants to do, which is true. But anyway, so I ended up choosing Michigan because Michigan's dope. My lab is dope. My advisor was dope. I mean, I can't go on and on and on about how supportive, how amazing Michigan is. But yeah, so then I ended up deferring my admission so that I could come out here to Brussels and do this Fulbright BAEF project, which has also been one of the best decisions I could have ever made in my entire life, because it has been one of the best years of my life. And so yeah, it's so now I'm at the point where it's April and I have June, July, 3 months left. And now I'm basically getting my curriculum together. So I'll be matriculating into the program in biomedical sciences. So it's an umbrella program, 14 departments. So that's molecular biology to cancer to pharmacology to neuroscience. But I'm pretty set on rotating within translational type of labs, translational research, meaning like bench side to bedside. So it's the process of how what we discover in the lab ends up on your bedside. Like somebody discovered the active ingredient in Tylenol. Somebody, figured out, a certain type of cancer therapy in the lab. Like it started in the lab, and I'm interested in that human component. So now what I'm doing in these last 3 months is, one, wrapping up my research project here in Brussels, because I came in with a goal from day one, which was to kind of wrap up this project and publish a paper. So I'm kind of doing some of these experiments and just trying to get that all together in a short amount of time. And then I will be moving back to Michigan at the end of the summer, and I start my program in September, which means lab rotations. So sorry y'all, allergy season is killing me. It's killing me. I'm dying. I didn't pack allergy medicine, my god. Of course. Anyway, so yeah, so that's where I'm at. And then I am actually getting ready to apply for a second fellowship. Now that I have this Fulbright and BAEF, it's like my eyes are just shining. I'm like, wow, I can actually like win a fellowship. Like I should apply for more. But there's one that really resonates with me. I know people will say that I share a lot. Some say I share too much. Some say I share more, whatever. I share what I want when I want. So this is one of those things that I'm actually not going to talk about because I'm in the process of doing it. I did not share my Fulbright journey. I didn't tell anyone when I made it to semifinals because I just needed to kind of focus my energy, keeping a positive attitude, positive mindset. Not shading anyone who does, like, it's your prerogative, but I'm starting to just, think about the best way to transition. So I'm like figuring out how to get my security deposit back, how to like move out, booking flights home, figuring out when I'm gonna move into my apartment back in Michigan, moving, all of those logistical things. But I am looking forward to it. I'm feeling really excited about the scientist that I'm going to be by the time that I finish, because I know in my last video I was like, I'm terrified of prelims and quals, but like, I'm gonna crush it. I'm gonna do what needs to be done, and I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna do the damn thing. So yeah, that's what I am doing. People are like, so what's after Fulbright? I'm like, bro, I've had this lined up for like the past year. Like, I came in knowing that I was coming back to Michigan in 2018. So the short recap: this was an academic sabbatical, doing research related to my master's. I don't necessarily know which lab I'm going to join for the PhD. I may go back to my original lab. I may change departments. I may not. I don't know. And I'm the type of person that, I need to try what I like before I invest, So I'm going to see. I'm going to try this, I'm going to try something new, challenge myself, and see if there's something out there that I really love that I haven't been exposed to yet. So what else? There was something else I was going to say. All in the meanwhile, so like the past month or past couple of weeks, I've been planning like my curriculum depending on which department I join, so I know like what classes I need to take. And luckily a lot of my master's courses can satisfy some of those requirements, so it makes the course load a little bit lighter. I'm thinking about doing an industry internship this summer after my second year, somewhere in Europe, of course, and thinking about ways that I can do outreach in STEM in Africa, and spend another year abroad as a part of my dissertation work. People keep asking me if the work that I do here counts towards my PhD. I am not at liberty to answer those questions, but just know that I'm a finesse something where I can. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. But yeah, so that's just kind of where I'm at. I'm at this place where, I can hit the ground running because Michigan is home base. I know the campus, I know the departments, not fully, but I have a good foundation, a good understanding of what's required, what's expected, and I'm looking forward to it. I know in my last video I was like kind of down, like, I don't want to leave, and like I still have those feelings, but I have to remember that it's good that I feel that way, because it means I've had a wonderful time here. And at the end of the day, when I look back to this story I just told you, when I was getting those rejections, when I wasn't getting admitted to these schools, like all of those rejections got me here. And if I could do it all over again, no lie, no doubt, I would do it exactly the same way. The only thing I would do is go back in time and tell myself, Cheech, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. And I just have to take the time to remind myself how hard I've worked to get here. Like, I feel like sometimes I get a little desensitized because, master's is 2 years, Fulbright's a year. Like, by the time I start the PhD program, I'll have had 5 solid PhD level worthy research experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, low key, I could already have my PhD with the research experience that I have. Low key. So I'm not gonna lie, I get desensitized. And I was telling one of the Fulbright scholars who just left, actually, that I was going, starting my PhD program. She's like, is it funded? I was like, yeah, fully funded. She was like, she like lost her mind. She was so excited, jumping up and down. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, of course it is. It's a STEM PhD. Like, I'm not paying for a graduate degree. But, that's taking that for granted. Like, I should be excited. Not that I'm not, but you know what I mean? Like, just seeing her level of excitement just really made me like, yo, like, this is dope. Like, this is a great situation to be in. And yeah, so yeah, just trying to remind myself, like, if you had asked me a few years ago, I mean, there are people that I wanted to be like when I couldn't get into PhD programs. You know, I would see these black women with their natural hair doing their PhDs at these bomb schools. I'm like, man, I just want to get in. I want to do my PhD. I would have gone anywhere if you see some of the schools I applied to. And now it's such a good feeling because I am the person, I am the scientist that I wanted to be back then. Like where I am, like I look at the people I thought I wanted to be compared to the person that I am. I'm like, nah, this is what I want to be. So it's a really, really, really good feeling. And I don't regret any of the experiences or the disappointments or the sadness or discouragement that I felt. Of course, that was a story that I didn't share with people as I was going through it. I shared it with them after I got my admission into the master's program. You feel me? Because y'all, you know, I laugh because you were like, you know, some of my friends are like, you share so much, like, why don't you leave something to the imagination? I'm like, don't worry, I will. My master's, my Fulbright, my BAF, y'all ain't know. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there are things in the pipeline that, you know, you share what you want. Share, don't share, whatever. But anyway, that is where I'm at. I don't know the next time I'm going to do a video. I should have, two of my good friends from undergrad came to visit me this past weekend. And, hands down, it was so much fun. We went to a silent party in the heart of Brussels, and we went to an Afrobeats party. We ate at this Congolese restaurant, this Indian restaurant. Like, it was just so good to be around my friends, you know, like, I have friends here, but it's not the same. Like, I don't have close friends here. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I have friends, but like that community that I have back in Michigan, back in Atlanta, back in Jersey, I don't have that here. And, you know, even now, almost 8-9 months in, I do sometimes feel a little bit lonely. Like, you know, I can count on one hand how many people I will call to like go out somewhere or do something, and most of those people are okay. 2 hands. One hand is for my lab mates. Like, without my lab mates, I basically have like 2 friends. Okay, lab mate, Fulbright peeps, and BAF peeps aside. Like, basically all my friends are the people in my programs and in my lab. And that's understandable because I haven't been here that long. But that said, there are times where I do feel lonely. You know, there are people that aren't like sisters to me, that aren't like family to me. So to have that kind of have my 2 friends visit me here was awesome. It was just like surreal. We're like, yo, we're really out here in Europe. Like, who would have thought? And it like dialed me back to when, you know, I remember when I was leaving Georgia and I was so sad. I was like, oh, I miss all my friends in Atlanta. And then when I was leaving Michigan, I was like, oh, I miss all my friends in Michigan going to Brussels. And I know when I leave Brussels, y'all saw me, I was a wreck. I'm like, I don't want to go. When I was leaving Jersey to go to Georgia, I was like, oh, my friends are in Jersey. And so now, like, seeing them here, I'm like, yo, it's not, you know, my mom always says, you're not losing friends. You're just expanding your family. You know, you don't want to limit yourself to be in one area because that's where your community is. Like, branch out. Y'all can visit each other. Rather than being in Atlanta, now y'all get to kick it in Brussels. So, yeah. So that was cool. It was a good time. I mean, the turn-up was, it was just, and the weather was beautiful. It was a perfect weekend. Legit. It was a perfect weekend. Perfect timing. I needed that. So, yeah. I think that's all I have to say for now. I can't promise y'all when the next video is going to come out. My neighbor is... I'm sorry, I've been looking around because something smells like rubbish and I don't know what they got going on, but I got 3 months left, so I'm not trying to catch a case. But anywho, yeah, that's all. So if you have questions or want to know something in particular, I think at some point I'll probably do a video about like the visa process coming here, just for like future Fulbright grantees, because that junk was a mess. Crazy, I participated in the Fulbright webinar where they like do a webinar with all the selected grantees to like kind of give them like a pre-introduction into transitioning to Belgium. And I'm like, yo, I remember this webinar like it was yesterday. Like this time last year I had so much, I was doing practice talks for my defense, I had a conference, I was writing my speech and my spoken word for the March for Science. I was trying to figure out how to get to Belgium. And I remember being so stressed about that, like how to transition and all of those things. And like now that I'm here, I'm like, yo, it worked out. And I need to remember that for the future. Like It's already taken care of. You just gotta take it a day at a time. So anyway, I'm done rambling because I'm really trying not to make another 30-minute video. But that's what's going on with your girl. So I will holler at y'all later. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.